Indianapolis, Indiana, March 4. Defensive back Zedrick Woods of Ole Miss runs the 40-yard dash during Day 5 of the NFL Combine at Lucas Oil Stadium on March 4, 2019 in Indianapolis, Indiana. Photo by Joe Robbins, Getty Images. Opinions shouldn't change outright based on a Combine performance. After all the athleticism on display at the Combine is accessible via the tape. But the hype train rolls a bit faster this time of year, and sometimes, even NFL scouts can't help but double-count traits at the NFL Combine. Every off-season, we see workout warriors drafted ahead of their projected slots, and every season, we see teams reap the benefits of less polished Combine stars leaping over more refined, pro-ready prospects. In 2019, the Redskins need to play the system, not be a part of it. Want your voice heard? Join the Rigos Rag team. Write for us. So how do the Redskins play the system? The key is not prioritizing Combine results, but instead integrating them into the evaluation process. Football is more than a game of broad jumps and bench reps, and in this mock draft, we'll try and come up with the best on-field product based on what the 2019 NFL Combine taught us. Page 2 MIAMIFL, October 6, Brian Burns. Photo by Mark Brown, Getty Images. After the 2019 NFL Combine, Brian Burns will undoubtedly be one of the most coveted edge rushers in the 2019 NFL Draft. There's no sidestepping it. But at the same time, Burns isn't the only top-tier prospect who helped himself this past week. DK Metcalf could go inside the top 5 after solidifying himself as a transcendent wide receiver prospect. Greedy Williams could go top 10 after running a sub-4.4 40-yard dash at 6'2". And even fellow edge rusher Montez Sweat, who ran the fastest edge rusher 40 time ever at 4.41, could leapfrog Burns with his Combine hype. Sweat's 40 time does not mean the Redskins should pick Sweat over Burns. Some will like Sweat more than I do, but after watching, Burns seems much more fluid and explosive than Sweat, and he's just as refined as a rusher. Even with Sweat's 40 time, Burns still logged a better Ross score with his agility drills. Ross is a measure to quantify a prospect's athletic limitations and potential, designed by Inside the Pylon writer Kent Lee Platt. If the Redskins let Preston Smith walk in free agency, then Brian Burns should be their no. 1 target at pick no. 15 yes, other needs on offense can be filled. I'd almost prefer to fill them, but Burns would be the best player available at a position of equal need. The only questions surrounding Burns, entering the Combine, pertain to his weight, and he weighed in at 250, then proceeded to dominate movement drills. His status as a top-tier prospect is in stone now, and if he drops to number 15, he's a no-brainer for the Redskins. Page 3 AST Lansing, Michigan. In November 4, Jawan Johnson. Michigan State won the game 27-24. Photo by Gregory Seamus, Getty Images. I've maintained all off-season that offense should be emphasized in the 2019 NFL Draft by the Washington Redskins, and while I still believe that the offense is in dire need of help, I've walked my stance back a bit since calling the need to bolster the offense a priority. Yes, it still is a priority, in a sense, but some of the best players available at the Redskins draft positions are on defense, and at the most important defensive positions. It would have been ideal to pick an offensive guard at this slot, but the best ones were taken, leaving other positions' candidacy open. With this pick, in the post-NFL Combine mock, I settled on Michigan State cornerback Justin Layne, a preferred prospect of mine who did not disappoint at the NFL Combine. Layne carried high expectations coming into the Combine, as a recently converted wide receiver with fluid movement skills and ball-hawking length, and he confirmed the assertions of his backers, putting on a stellar performance. According to Kent Lee Platt, Layne posted an elite Ross score at the Combine, with his combination of length and explosion standing out. You can find his results here, but to sum it up, Lane scored a 9.29 on the Ross card, posting an incredible broad jump of 11 feet, a 40-yard dash of 4.5, a shuttle time of 4.09, and a three-cone of under 7 seconds. Lane's combine performance confirms what many saw on tape. He's an easy mover who has the athleticism and developmental upside to be a high-level starter in the NFL. Like Quinton Dunbar, he comes to the NFL still very early in his development as a cornerback. Lane originally committed to Michigan State as a wide receiver, then switched to cornerback his sophomore year. Once a day 3 prospect, Lane is rising fast. He's now getting day 2 hype, and even day 1 in some conversations. If he's still here at this pick, the Redskins need to consider adding him to their roster, as a cheap successor to Josh Norman with perhaps more upside than the former All-Pro. Page 4 GLENDALE, Arizona, December 23, quarterback Josh Rosen. The Rams defeated the Cardinals 31-9, photo by Christian Peterson, Getty Images, surprise, with the no. 79 pick in the 2019 NFL Draft, the Washington Redskins trade for Arizona Cardinals starting quarterback Josh Rosen. Is this possible? Somehow, it might be. Should it be possible? No, with a capital No. We won't go too deep into the logistics, or lack thereof, of trading away a franchise quarterback you traded up to get just to draft another franchise quarterback with the no. 1 overall pick. All you need to know is this: there's genuine reason to believe the Cardinals are shopping Josh Rosen, and they're not getting as much interest they thought they'd get. More from Riggo's Rag. It was first reported by Tony Pauline that the Cardinals were interested in trading Rosen, and now, NBC Sports' Peter King is on the record saying that the Cardinals wouldn't get what they want for Rosen, if he becomes available. From a standpoint of pure reason, that seems ridiculous. Rosen is worth more than a third. But there's no report to suggest teams believe otherwise. Not yet. Let's pretend for a moment that, for some reason, the price doesn't increase at all. Josh Rosen for a third-round pick. That is a deal the Redskins almost can't refuse. Rosen will have his detractors after a rookie season that could have gone better, but the context sheds light on the unfortunate circumstances he had to deal with during his transition to the NFL. There's also this Draft Network article by John Ledyard, which gives a taste of how Rosen's supporting cast clouded his statistical output on a weekly basis. On one hand, the Redskins might not want to trade for Rosen while Alex Smith's dead cap figure is still haunting the team's cap flexibility. But on the other hand, Rosen is a franchise quarterback, with the necessary traits to take a team over the hump. If you can get him, on his salary, for 4 years, with a 5th-year option, for a third-round pick, the value is too good to pass up. So in this mock, the Redskins capitalize on the post-combine trade hype, and they submit a deal for their next franchise quarterback. Page 5 ARLINGTON, TX, September 24, Trevor Knight. Photo by Ronald Martinez, Getty Images. If you trade one of your picks for Josh Rosen, then you have to make sure his offensive line is up to par. Rosen was under pressure on 40% of his dropbacks last season. Even for a quick processor like Rosen, the pocket duration needs to be substantially stronger in DC. Luckily for Rosen, and for the Redskins, the 2019 NFL Draft is very deep on the interior offensive line. Starting quality players can be found late on day 2, and here, the Redskins take Texas A. McCoy posted an elite Ross at the Combine, per Kentley Platt's system. His 40-yard dash time of 4.89 was tops among linemen this year, and his 10-yard split of 1.72 was equally impressive. At 6'3", 303, McCoy offers good size, and while his agility scores were lesser in quality, McCoy's body of work at the Combine is, in general, excellent. The biggest thing for McCoy was the 10-yard split. There's a strong correlation between a fast 10-yard split and success in the NFL. With a split of 1.72, McCoy fits right into that window. Chances are he could be gone at this point, but if he drops in a deep offensive line class, the Redskins would certainly be inclined to pick him here. Page 6 OXFORD, MS, October 14, wide receiver DeMarcus Lodge. Photo by Michael Chong, Getty Images. DeMarcus Lodge is a unique pick in this mock draft, as he didn't necessarily boost his stock at the combine. He was fairly fluid in drills, as many expected him to be, but he didn't separate himself with top-tier athletic numbers like some receivers did. In fact, Lodge posted a below-average ROS, based on Kentley-Platt's grading scale. This could cause teams to overlook Lodge in an incredibly deep wide receiver class. Thus, he could be available late for the Redskins to acquire him, in what would be their second absolute steal of the NFL draft. Lodge, from a physical standpoint, is fairly average, as his ROS score indicates. With 4.55 speed, a 6'1", 202 frame, and underwhelming agility scores, Lodge's stock could be dropping after his time in Indianapolis. So why should the Redskins pick him? Because on film, Lodge makes up for his deficiencies with nuance and attention to detail, things that were often suppressed in Ole Miss' simplistic offense. Lodge's work focuses on his spatial relation with the cornerback on every play, and he's always aware of how to create separation, where and when. Between his polish, his release, and his awareness on the field, Lodge could serve as a go-to receiver right away in Washington's offense. Page 7 GLENDALES, December 30th, offensive lineman Ryan Bates. Photo by Christian Peterson, Getty Images. With a need for both a starter at left guard and depth all around the line, the Redskins are poised to double up on interior offensive linemen in the 2019 NFL Draft. Luckily for them, in the 5th round, there were some enticing options still on the board, including Penn State's Ryan Bates. Bates played defensive tackle for the Nittany Lions, but with a 79-inch wingspan and a raw skill set, Bates could be better suited for the interior at the next level. His NFL Combine results mirrored these sentiments, as Bates showcased his athletic potential on the national stage. As explained earlier, the 10-yard split is one of the most important metrics for predicting whether or not an interior offensive lineman will have success in the NFL. The shuttle drill is as well, and Bates tested above the 95th percentile in both events. He logged a 1.70 10-yard split and a 4.53 shuttle time. These results culminated in an elite grade on Kentley-Platt's ROS card. Bates is raw enough where he could go on the tail end of day 2, or he could slip and fall into the middle of day 3. In this mock situation, Bates was available, and as a result, the Redskins refused to pass up the opportunity to add another potential starter at offensive guard. Page 8 Santa Clara, CA, in November 30th, Marquise Blair. Photo by Ezra Shaw, Getty Images. If Preston Smith walks, which is implied in this mock draft, then the Redskins could very well address half of their safety need in free agency, perhaps with a high-caliber player like Landon Collins. The addition of Collins would resolve the Redskins' need at safety somewhat. Monte Nicholson is still on the roster, and there's always a chance he could be given another shot at the starting role. But there needs to be another defensive back added, whether for depth purposes, or for developmental purposes. Of course, if the Redskins are drafting for developmental purposes, they shouldn't use their 4th-round pick on that kind of safety, like they did last year. In this mock, the Redskins instead wait until the 6th round, where Utah's Marquise Blair is waiting. Blair offers very little polish, and there's a lot of unknowns surrounding him. He wasn't a premier defender at Utah, partly because he didn't get a lot of opportunities to show his worth on the field. But Blair has the athleticism to warrant a late pick. Going off of Kentley-Platt's grading system again, Blair posted a very good ROS score at the NFL Combine. His 40-yard dash time of 4.48 showcased the speed he possesses at 6'1", and his 1.44 10-yard split alludes to good initial explosion as well. Blair didn't partake in agility drills, but he did manage to log a 10-foot broad jump, which is a great figure at his position. Strength and weight are two problems that could persist for Blair at the next level, but as it stands, he has a good amount of tools for the Redskins to use as they see fit. With Monty Nicholson and Shazer Everett potentially battling for one starting job, adding another high-upside safety is a must. Page 9 JACKSONVILLEFL, December 16, a Washington Redskins helmet is seen before the game against the Jacksonville Jaguars to TIAA Bank Field on December 16, 2018 in Jacksonville, Florida. Photo by Sam Greenwood, Getty Images. This is one of my favorite picks to mock for two reasons: 1, because I never get to address offensive tackle up until this point, and 2, because Trey Pipkins is one of my favorite developmental tackles in this draft. We can't say that a developmental tackle will work out with the Redskins simply because Bill Callahan and Trent Williams are there to coach him up. Results are still pending with Garon Christian, and he'll likely get more exposure this season if Ty Nsika leaves. The Redskins have some impending uncertainty at offensive tackle that will come, whether they like it or not. So they just need to add somebody, anybody, in the draft to increase the quantity of players at that position. This late into the game, getting Sioux Falls offensive tackle Trey Pipkins is a very good move. Pipkins, who stands at 6'6", 309, is a raw prospect who didn't get a lot of playing time against top-level competition in college. However, he didn't allow a single sack in his senior season with Sioux Falls, and at the NFL Combine, he showcased the athletic potential he carries as a late-round pick. Per Kent Lee Plett, Pipkins posted an elite Ross score at the 2019 NFL Combine. He was best in burst drills, logging a 1.75 10-yard split, a 33.5-inch vertical, and a broad jump just over 9 feet. All of those numbers rank above around 90% of all offensive line prospects, and they speak to the athleticism Pipkins has to mold. Pipkins will need development at the next level, without a doubt. His 16 bench reps showcase a lack of strength and stamina that could be exposed in the NFL. But he has the raw traits that you like to take a risk on this late in the NFL draft. Page 10 BALTIMORE, MD, October 9, a Washington Redskins helmet sits on the field prior to the game against the Baltimore Ravens at M. Photo by Todd Olszewski, Getty Images. At this point, the second-to-last pick in the NFL draft, most of the preferable options were exhausted. There are no more needs that can be feasibly filled here, and so the Redskins instead took the best player available approach, drafting a combine snub in Colorado State wide receiver Preston Williams. Williams, standing at 6'4", 215, was a prolific receiver in the final year of his collegiate career. In 2018, with the Rams, he logged 1,345 yards and 14 touchdowns on 96 receptions. A former SEC commit who received offers out of high school from Alabama, Ohio State, and others, Williams put his four-star talent on display often at Colorado State, and he'd bring some very intriguing traits to the Redskins, if drafted. Athletically, Williams flashes a ton on tape. It's very surprising that he wasn't invited to the NFL Combine, as he would have likely put up very impressive numbers. His legal history could have played a part in his relinquished invitation. Williams was suspended for misdemeanor assault at Tennessee, and it ultimately led to his transfer after his sophomore season. Next, NFL Mock Draft 3.0. What if the Redskins traded back? Williams' character questions will need to be addressed in the pre-draft process. If the circumstances are severe, he shouldn't get a look. But if things check out, he could be worth the late-round flyer, given his natural ability. By double-dipping at wide receiver, the Redskins could solidify, to the best of their ability, a new and improved defensive cast in 2019, something they need more than almost anything else.